This is the PL-89 Gematriatic Quantum Thought Calendar for Sunday, November 9th, 2025, and it's also Yom Rishon, first day of the week, the 18th day of Cheshvan, or Mar Cheshvan. The year is 5786, the Hebrew calendar, and the PL-89 calendar is a lunar and solar calendar. It's a Gematria calendar, and I have different ways of describing it all the time, and it's a form of math that I am involved with, and the best way that I can describe it is pure math as it pertains to Gematria, pure mathematics as it applies to Gematria. And this is sort of like a theory of everything that's put into a calendar form, and the time is very much in connection with the Gematria. So I'll just give an example. But first, there are two boxes on the calendar that represent the Hebrew date and the Gregorian date. And those are the two main dates on the calendar. And so today on the Hebrew calendar, it's the 18th day of Mar Cheshvan, or Cheshvan. So on this calendar, since in Cheshvan or November, both of them, since it's lunar and solar, it starts right here. Now, it's not always that way. There's different dispensations, and you can start it, but it always goes for 3 months. But which 3 months do you start it from, that depends on which dispensation you're putting in. It's kind of like a setting. You can put it on this dispensation 1 is a certain setting, dispensation 2 is a setting, and dispensation 3 is a setting. And each one of those dispensations make the starting point from a different set of months. In astrology, there are the different sets of months. There's 3 sets of months, and they're known as cardinal, fixed, and mutable. And that generally translates to the beginning month of a season, which is cardinal. That's the month that starts out the season. Those are like your April, your July, your October, and your January. These are the powerful, strong months of each season. So April is the powerful month is the strong month of spring, and then July of summer, etc. Then you have your fixed months. Fixed months are months that you're already well into the season, and it's sort of like, I'm not sure how it got the name fixed, but it just, from the sound of it, it sounds like it's already been there for a long time. It's already fixed in that season. Those are months like the month we're in right now, November and August. See, it's been the summer for a while already. November, it's been the fall for a while already. It's fixed in it. And February, it's been the winter for a while. And May, it's been the spring for a while. So that's one way of saying it. That's how I understand it. And then there's the mutable months. The mutable months is when you're about to mutable, as the name is, mutate. It's about to change. It's the last month of the season and about to move into the next season. So let's say June is mutable because it's moving from spring to summer. December is mutable because it's moving from fall to winter. March is mutable because it's moving from winter to spring, and so forth. What did I miss? Did I say anything? June to summer, September to fall. That's what it was. Yeah. Okay. So interestingly, when this calendar started back in 2012, it started with mutables. That's dispensation 1. Is where the mutable months, which are September, that's the month that started September 2012. So September, December, March, and June all start from here. And then it goes, let's say September. So September, October, November. That's how it would look. And the whole year is based on that, and it went that way for 8 years. So, but now we're in the final dispensation. The final dispensation is where the fixed months, such as the one we're in right now, whether it's Cheshvan or November, it's fixed. So that's where we're starting with. So it's November, December, January. So basically, the 9th of November would be right here, because you count it from left to right, just like you're reading numbers or English. So 9. So it's box 36. So ideally 36 would be the number that has something to do with today. I can't think of anything that's 36 about today. Other than 9 times 4 is 36. And it's the 9th day of November. But I don't know if that's so significant or so amazing. But it could be. I mean, but usually it has to do with a word or a name or something that came up on that day, and it would numerically match the box of that day. That's when it's very interesting. So there was something that I think I remember that was very interesting to me about today. Okay. Well, yeah, I read a chapter in Genesis chapter 18 has 33 verses, and on the Hebrew calendar, it's the 18th is on 33 in this dispensation. So 33, I read Genesis 18 today, and then Genesis 18 happens to have 33 verses. So I read that. So that's in my learning program. So matched up in this box. But this also is very good for another fixed month. We're in November, but back in the spring, May is also a fixed month. And this was May/ER. And what's very interesting about this is if it's ER, then the 18th day of ER is Lag BaOmer. So that's very works out very well because it's box 33. 33 is Lag, is the 33rd day of the Omer. And it coincides with the 18th day of ER. So this works out perfectly for that. And that's also, so this year, I noticed that happened, and last year as well. The same situation happened when I saw that it was Lag BaOmer and it was on the 18th. So that's how one of the ways it could work really well. But there's another way of using this calendar. It's not just the dates; it's actually a database of all gematria. Period. It contains ideally. It should contain thousands and thousands of words and phrases and psukim, verses, and all kinds of things from the Talmud, whatever, it doesn't make a difference. English, Hebrew, Aramaic, all of it. It's all in here. And it's all encoded in the numbers. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. It's used by a rule called 40. The rule of 40 is that any number on these boxes, any one of these boxes, you add 40 to it, and it stays the same. It's a concept. It's not really the same. I mean, like, for example, let's just say you pick a number 18, right? 18 is right here. And then you add 40 to it, so you get 58. So it stays in the same file. And then you add another 40 to it, so it's 98, and it stays in the same file. So 138, same file. 178, same file. Okay? 2,018,000, same file. So that's where it gets really interesting, because you can contain so many different words and numbers and phrases and everything, because it's all just being truncated. It's being compact into these files, into these little box files. So here's an example of a gematria that came up recently. That, let's just say the number 878. So this is 1 through 40. Okay, it's 1 through 40, and there's 2 of them. So it's 80 boxes together, and it goes 1 through 40, but it doesn't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It goes 8 plus 9 plus 8 plus 9, and at 40 it resets. So and there's a reason for that. It's based on a verse in the Bible about the sabbatical year. Hopefully we'll explain that at a different time. But basically, it's really a 40. It's based on 40 in many ways, and so a good example of how this is supposed to hold so much gematria is that someone connected a few ideas about, in Genesis, let's say, in the beginning when God confronted Adam and said, did you eat from the tree that I told you not to? I mean, he said, who told you that you were naked? You know, and then so those words in Hebrew are Okay? I'm not sure I'm going to say this over correctly because it had a little bit more of an introduction to it. But I'll just give the gematrias, okay? It said, Mi higid lecha ki erum ata. Who told you that you were naked? In Hebrew, that's in Genesis 3:11. So that that phrase has a numerical value of 878 in regular Hebrew gematria. So then, when it talks about the promise of Abraham's descendants, it says Ki b'Yitzchak yikarei lecha zara. For in Isaac will your seed be called. So and that has the same numerical value, page 78. So you might say, like, who told you that you were naked? Have to do with Isaac. Well, if you have some of the backstory, you'll see that Adam was ashamed because he had sinned, and ultimately there'll be a redeemer that comes from the line of Abraham through Isaac, and that will correct for that sin, and so they have the same numerical value. Ki b'Yitzchak yikarei lecha zara. Okay, which is interesting because the word Mashiach spelled mem, and then you spell it out. There's a way called maluim. You spell it mem, okay, shin, yud nun, it's like shin, well, the word shin, and then yud vav daled, and then chet yud taf is equal to 878. So now you see, mi higid lecha ki erum ata. You see, there's who told you that you were naked? You have sinned. Now that's 878. And I say Ki b'Yitzchak yikarei lecha zara. There's already in that line. There's going to be a correction. Mashiach. This gets even closer. Mashiach. Okay, and then in Isaiah 8:14 it says, "Even Negev, a rock of a fence." Like a Negev is some kind of a Negev. Again, how do they translate it here? Let's see. Even Negev would be a stone upon which to dash oneself, and for a rock upon which to stumble. Sur mikshol. Those are two terminologies. So a stumbling stone, a rock of offense. Even Negev plus sur mikshol equals 878. So now it's already connected to that. And just one more, that Shem, Ham, and Yafes, the three sons of Noah, were also descendants that helped recreate the world, to make a new world. It's equal to 878. So all those gematrias are 878. So where would you find that here? Okay, you would find that through the rule of 40. You would find it here and here. 18 is the PL-89 root of 878. Why is that? Because if you take the number 18 and you add 40, what will you get? You get 58. Add 40, 98. Add 40, 138. Add 40, 178. I'm sorry. Wait a minute here. I think I goofed up. It's not 18. See, 878. No, it might not be 18. It might be a different box. But here's the concept. 878. 878 minus 40 is 838. Right? Minus 40 is 798. Is 598. Is 398. Is 198. Right? So minus 40 is 158. Minus 40 is 118. Minus 40 is 78. It's 38. Okay. Not too bad. Low. Instead of 18, not 18. Scratch that. It doesn't make a difference because this wasn't like hanging in the balance a whole bunch of other calculations because it didn't have to be 18. I just thought it was 18. It's actually 38. 38 is the digital root, is a PL-89 root of 878. Why? for the rule of 40, which I explained earlier, the rule of 40 is that you just keep adding 40s. So 38 plus 40 is 78. Plus 40 is 118. Plus 40 is 158. Plus 40 is 198. Plus 40 is 238. 238, 438, 638, 838, plus 40 is 878. So 878 is found here, and it's found here. So that's where you would find it. And the idea is, that's just one example, but ideally this is a different day, but it should be for today. It should be like, okay, 36 here, and 36 over here. I'm not sure what 36 is. 236, 436, 636, 836, I don't know. No. But anyway, that's how this is supposed to work. So if the more digital roots you have, so let's take any 3-digit number, right? You want to say like, pick any 3-digit number. 442, okay? 442, it's going to be 2. Why? Because you keep subtracting 40s, you're eventually going to come down to 2. Alright, 575, it's going to be 175, 135, 95, 55, 15. It's going to be 15. So basically every 3-digit number has its root in here. And even 4-digit numbers and 5-digit numbers. They all do. So basically you find out how all these gematrias are in here, and that's one of the applications of it.